Hi friend, welcome back to my channel. I am Frederick and I'm glad to meet you. In modern day .NET applications, managing configuration settings effectively is crucial for building scalable and maintainable software. One of the most common ways to handle configuration is through the apsettings.json file, and I believe you know that file. This file allows developers to centralize configuration settings in a structured, that is a JSON format, which can be easily managed and accessed across different environments. In this video too, we will explore several methods for reading data from this apsettings.json file for both Blazor project and also Web API project. Additionally, we will also introduce ourselves to the new IOptions interface, which was introduced in .NET 8, which offers a more streamlined and type-safe approach to handling configuration settings. Let's first talk about the traditional method, the traditional way that we do our things. So by using configuration builder. Configuration builder class has been a fundamental way to read configuration settings. It provides flexibility to load configuration from the various sources, including the JSON file, environment variables, and more. So after utilizing the configuration builder, what we need to do here is we have to perform the dependency injection. By leveraging the built-in dependency injection framework in ASP.NET Core, configuration settings can be injected into service and component. So if you're using Blazor component, you can inject this configuration. If you're using a class in API, you can also inject this in the constructors. This promotes clean separation of concerns and now makes configuration data easily accessible throughout your application. But in this, it is direct access. So for quick and straightforward access, developers can directly read configuration values using the configuration object. This means, or this method is often used for simple application or scenarios where minimal configuration data is needed. You see, so you can use the configuration, you can inject it directly and now grab it. You can also use the dependency injection to also get that. That is where you implement the configuration interface. Then you can create an object out of it, and then through that you can start using your configuration as well. Now let's first talk about this. Let's first look at example of how to implement the traditional method. Then I will show you the new method introduced in .NET 8, which is fantastic. Alright, so I have my Web API project created. Now this project can be, or this AppSettings reading can happen both in Blazor and also in Web API. So let's use Web API for example, and what we're doing here, you can do the same thing in Blazor project. Okay, good. So you can see from this solution explorer here, I have my project created as a Web API. I have the default and everything is default as you see. Good. Now let's go to the AppSettings, and in here I want to add a section here, key and a value. Okay, so you can read data from here. Let's simply create a simple section here where it contains a key and the value. You see the section name here, it is connections. That's the section name. Inside that, we can also have a section name inside this section. Okay, but I call this as a key, and now there's a value. Key and our value. So you want to read this, you want to read this section, you want to read the key, and you want to grab the value because we are much interested in the value. So you want to grab the value of each key here, then return it to the UI. Okay, so that's what you want to do. Now that we have this, we can now save this nicely. The next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to inject this interface, that's the iConfiguration interface, in our controller and start using. This is very simple. This is a traditional method, and accessing this is very simple. Let's say now from our solution we go to our controller. Now from this controller, maybe I can change the name from weather forecast because we're not using weather forecast, and I can say this is config controller. And for now, I'm going to remove all this because we don't need this for now. Yes, and now with this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it as iAction result get, And now in here, this is what we're going to do. From here, let's introduce .NET 8 primary constructor, and you can inject this I configuration and I'll pass in as configuration. Okay, so within this one, let me make this as version 1. So this is v1. Okay, and now with this, we can have a very simple one like this. You can see that here we're having the Blazor connection, the API connection, username, and a password. Now have a look here. You can see from this we call this configuration object created, and now we're going to pass in the connection as a section name, and now we want to find its key. So the key here is a Blazor, or the section name is a Blazor. So we have connection as a main section, we have subsection as Blazor, we have connection name here as a main section, we have Blazor as a key, and now so we want to grab the value of this. We store it in here. We do same to each, and now we store them based on the variable that we have defined. After that, I'm creating just a list, and now have set them in here. Very simple one. Okay, so maybe that's what I can do. I can make like this. So this is Blazor connection. Then I can just grab this. I can also do same in here. So, and this is API connection. Okay, so API connection. Then I can also specify this here. Okay, then username and password can also do same. That's great. So you can see we have them set up in here. Now aside from this, we're going to run this and see. So this is going to get us the section from the app settings. Also going to get us the key, and now we're going to retrieve their values for each and display them in the controller. Let's have a look. Alright, so let's see. So if I click on try this out, we have to get the values in here. That's great. You can see we have them. So that is the key, the value from the app settings, and these are the name that we specified for them. Good. So you can see this working. But this here is error prone. Let's say when you come here from our code, we can make this as Blazor 1 mistakenly. We can make this as API 1, user 1, password 1. Okay, you see that? Now let's see. So if I refresh this again, and now let's try. You can see that we are not having them. So a little mistake here can cause you a huge damage. You see that? Good. So that's the reason why this new feature, that's an IOption, were introduced. A strong type, and it does a lot of things before even displaying on the UI. But as for this, it gets what you put in, and in case it's error, well, it doesn't even know it is error. Okay, so you're going to display that as you have configured. So this is not actually recommended, but in the olden time it was recommended because that was the only way to access this settings. But well, as I speak, in .NET 8 there's a different way together, and when you compare that way and this, I prefer we all go for that one. Let's have a look on that. So you know that with the release of .NET 8, Microsoft has introduced the IOption interface, providing an enhanced and type-safe way to handle configuration settings. You know, the IOption way or the pattern allows developers to define configuration classes that can be bound to a specific section of the apsettings.json file. These option classes can then be injected into services and components, promoting a clean and maintainable configuration management strategy. Yes, so what are the profits or what are the benefits of using this IOption over the traditional way? It is type saved. What does that mean? Strongly typed configuration settings reduce runtime errors and improve code readability. You know, here, if I decide to pass in 1, add any number to this, you know, we're going to have an error in that, as you saw. Okay, and now with this, you don't want to write them in here. You want to match them or map them with class properties. And with this, it will just even check for the configuration before allowing us to use them in here. So it is safe to use that one than this. So let's also see how to do that. Now, I know we have some section in here: Blazor, API, username, and our password. We have to create a class, and now the class name should be connections. The properties should be the same as this, and since they are all strings, we have to set the type as a string. Keep this in mind. So we need to create a simple class for that. Now let me utilize this weather forecast class that we have created already, or it has been created already for us. So I'm going to change the name to connections. Now inside these connections, I need to specify the following properties in here. Now these properties must match with the session that you provided in the app settings. So connection is a class name, Blazor as a type, API type, string, username, and password also type. All these are string, right? So you can see they are the same. Once you have this, then we need to map this in the configuration. So it's not the app start is going to map this in the configuration file. Let's look at how to do that as well. So in here, what you need to do here is to specify map it. So beta.services.configure, passing the class name and the session name that you want to map them together. Actually, the class name and now this must be the same, no different. Good. Once you're done with this, then we are good to go. We are then going to inject this into the constructor and now start using it. So let's see, from our constructor in here, this is what we can do. There are several ways, okay? One of them is to use this. So let's say I have my IOptions, then pass in your connection class. Not that one. Connection class like this, and I give it a name. Let's say this is option. When I'm done, what I'm going to do here is I can have a private read only, then connections. Okay, then I will say this is connections. So when I'm done with that, I can assign this connection equal to this options dot value. I can do this. Yes. Oh, they are not assigned, so there's no like that. Yeah, so connection is equal to this option dot value. Now once we are done with that, we can just go in there and then grab that and then start using it. So within that, we're going to have a very simple endpoint as well. And now this endpoint, we're going to use that. So let's see. Now this endpoint is going to be HTTP get version 2. So v2. And now this is connections. So you can grab that and I place them in here. So you see that here we are not passing any hard-coded data or text like what you did here. So there won't be any issue here, right? All that you need to do here is to create your class which match. And even when this is mapped, it will verify. So in case you have any issue, it will get notified. So this is what safe than using this one. So this is what I suggest that you use it in your application from .NET 8 and above. Okay, now let's try this and see if this is also going to work. So let's try this and see from this version 2. Try this out. And that's great, we have it. Version 1, 2. Also we have that. That's great. So whether you are working on Blazor or Web API project, understanding the various methods to read configuration data from the app settings file is essential. You cannot skip that. So by leveraging traditional approaches and embracing the new IOptions interface in .NET 8, you can build a robust and a maintainable application with ease, isn't it? In the following sessions, maybe we'll delve deeper into each method, providing at least some practical examples and some best practices to help you effectively manage your application configuration settings. For now, it's an introduction to this, and I believe you've seen how to use a traditional one and how to also use the new introduction, that is an IOption interface. If you like this, don't forget to like this video, and also if you haven't subscribed to this channel, then you do that, and do not forget as well to click on that bell to receive updates, actually to give you notified right when a new update has been released. That's great. Yeah. Alright, so thanks so much for watching this video, and hopefully I'll catch up again. Till then, take care.